Hey everyone, welcome to FPL the Onion. It's myself, Ash, and joined tonight by Tom stepping in for Nick as it's a pretty carnage week with two game weeks in the space of a calendar week. Tom, how's it going?
Yeah, very good. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me back on.
Pleasure. And as is customary, you've had a good week and stonking up the ranks and just popped onto the pod just to tell us how great it's going. So yeah, how does it feel being sub 20k first time this season?
Yeah, I think it's first time maybe ever. So, well, I think game week 2 I was 16k or something. But yeah, so since the start of the season, this is the best rank I think I've ever had. So delighted. Yeah, very good. I think I've got 6 or 7 greens in a row.
Amazing. And Ivan Toney poster on your wall yet, or not that level?
It's hard not to love him, isn't it? He's absolute beast.
He's
Love him.
absolutely smashing it for you, isn't he?
Yeah, he's been good.
Yeah, it was certainly an unusual week, but started with that Friday game with Tony smashing it, and non-owners are probably pretty scared. But then a lot of the budget strikers seem to come through with Solanke doing the business and Mitrovic with his miraculous return from injury. It seems getting the pen, so that was pretty good. But yeah,
Yeah,
Maddison, as per the title of the episode, is public enemy number one for this blank, and people are going to have to be scurrying about to try and get the full 11 out. And you're in the same boat, right?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. That was really frustrating. I think it was all going pretty well. Yeah, Tony and they got the Gay clean sheet, and I was like, I still going. Then that, and then yeah, like not having Solanke when he obviously banging it in and stuff. So, but yeah, I think a lot of people came out with a similarish kind of score, didn't it? It was kind of a good par score, I think. Um, so overall, pretty good.
Yeah, 50 to sort of upper 50 seemed to be the semi norm, and that would have been enough for a green arrow for most. But yeah, I think so. Look at the league in a minute. That's what most people got. But goalkeepers as well. Like, quick question: how many goalies this week got 10 or more points? It was just ridiculous for Halls.
Yeah, definitely was. Sar, Raya, Kepa. Did you get?
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
that's three. Yeah, Allison with his assist,
Allison.
Guaita.
Mm,
I think he must
yeah,
have just got saves and full bonus, and Ramsdale as well. So everyone, all of those got 10. Crazy.
amazing.
But yeah, that Newcastle clean sheet was pretty welcome as well. As a lot of people have double and triple ups. And then we'll obviously be talking about Salah tonight as well. Is he back after getting his goal in the big game? And now his fixtures are pretty lush, and I think a lot of people are flocking to him. So yeah, that's the talking points for the week. And yeah, short episode tonight for sure. We're going to try and keep this to 45 minutes. We'll see how we get on. But some of the usual stuff and a bit of a focus on sort of 1 week transfers for game week 12, which is, as we said, a blank. City and Arsenal don't have a game, and then looking ahead to 13 to 16, this final stretch before the World Cup, where some people are going to be maybe dropping wild cards or thinking, longish term, but it's only 4 game weeks. All right, so just a quick catch up on the mini league. Tom, you're there handsomely in fourth. No change for any of the top 9, which I tend to screen grab, and again, just still clinging on to ninth myself. Dean Ambrose still at the top, but yeah, 48 to 59 range there for the top of the league. Other Tom's doing pretty nicely in sixth as well. Yeah, it was one of those weeks, like you say, where if you took a hit, it probably showed up quite a bit because there wasn't any 70, 80 scores in there.
Yeah, I think early on, yeah, I thought I was going to make an extra place or two, but then yeah, my score became a bit more of a par score as the week went on. But yeah, it's good. Still holding my own there, so I'm pretty happy. Not too
Yeah,
far off the top.
yeah, exactly that. Again, I'll just go back to Tony, make the whole episode about him. Hopefully not, but Kurt and that on Friday with he's just so good at pens, isn't he? And they've got some okay-ish fixtures, but he's just such a sort of set and forget, isn't he? And you've had him for both his big hauls of the season, haven't you? That's 17 pointer, and now this.
Yeah. I think of his 8 goals this season, I've had 6 of those 8, so that's been really good. Yeah, it's interesting because yeah, it was Kane and Solanke versus Tony and Mitrovic, and when you look at it actually on paper, it probably hasn't. It's probably been about the same actually overall. But yeah, I don't know. Definitely gave me a good start to the weekend. Like good feeling about it. I don't regret Tony for sure, but yeah, Solanke obviously has been brilliant for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and there's been quite a lot of chat about his like over performance, and I did check before I came on that it's not like I thought he would be sort of streets behind in terms of over performance or whatever, but actually it's not too bad. But then again, I think he has scored like 5 returns from a XG of like 1.1 or something. But obviously he's been helping out with assists as well. So I was thinking, oh, that's completely unsustainable. I need to get rid of him maybe in a couple of weeks, but might just keep him. There's probably other fires to put out. I think you probably
Yeah,
just stick if you haven't got a wild card up your sleeve with the strikers you've got.
I think so. Yeah, I think the next few weeks is other moves you want to make, isn't it? But yeah, I think they could have had a couple of decent pen shouts as well, not given, I think, as well. So it could have been more probably. But
For Solanke, yeah, the last 2 weeks they've seem to keep getting them, yeah, not given, don't they?
yeah,
Yeah, and so anyone watching or listening, feel free to join our league. The code is on the screen before, TRLU7M. Still 37 of us in the league. That's been pretty stable for a bit, so yeah, feel free to join up and you can get a shout out. Yeah, Dean Ambrose still at the top there, 48, so okay week for him. But yeah, shout out to Russell Lawley Gibbs, who got 70 points. He's a bit further down the league, but yeah, cracking score for you. Kane captain, he had Tony, Raya in goal, and Salah. So he's ahead of the curve already with Salah.
very nice.
Right, your week, Tom. Yeah, just scraped inside the top 20k, as I say. Very nice week. 54. James De Gea for free. How'd it go?
Yeah, I think it was like I said, it started really well. First couple of games really seemed to go my way, and then yeah, then probably the rest of it was pretty average. Like Mitrovic was great that he started. We got got that return because I gambled him over Andreas, so that was nice. Um, and yeah, obviously good that he's hopefully back for this week. And similarly, yeah, on my bench, Nico Williams and Emerson both started, which looking ahead to next week could be important. So yeah, I think it's pretty average. Double Newcastle, Gay and Tony. I guess the highlights. Everything else is pretty average. But overall, yeah, happy. Yeah, just getting a green arrow, just keeping slowly climbing the ranks. It was a good week.
Yeah. Yeah, Mitrovic, I was just going to look at I think we've got the turnaround for them because obviously with an injury, did he come off early in that game? They've got actually a decent run until they play your boys in 12, but yeah, that's quite a decent amount. Is that one of the Thursday games actually? I think it is, isn't it? So their turnaround till 12 is good, but then to 13 it'd be quite short.
Yeah,
So,
it's Thursday, Sunday. Yeah, and he played the full 90.
right, okay. So Mitrovic probably is okay, but maybe a bit. Hopefully, we've just managed minutes in the next 2.
Yeah, exactly. If he misses 13, I'll be less worried. But yeah, I hope he starts 12.
Yeah. And I suppose other risks for you with a 12 in mind is Emerson and Nico, but they're just, if you take 1 or 2 points from each of them, you'd be happy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it'd be the fact that Emerson got his first start probably means he's not going to start this week. I don't know, but yeah, if I get a 1 pointer from him, and yeah, Williams got back in. I think I heard that Aurier might have a little niggle, thigh injury, but not sure how bad it is. So whether he's out or not, but he wasn't in the squad, was he, for the last game? So yeah, just hoping to get something. I'll take anything.
Yeah, I think if you got Nico or Emerson, unless you've got no other fires, you probably wouldn't shift either of those on.
Yeah,
Doesn't seem like a good use of a transfer, does it?
yeah, exactly. Like if Maddison hadn't done what he did, and I didn't have to make. Well, we'll come on to that in a minute. But make a move there, then I might consider a bit more. But I've certainly not really wanted to go, -8, -12 at this point. So
Yeah. And how sure are you on the Gay move? Will you tend to buy anyone else?
I don't know really. I think he just I feel like now I've got loads of money and I should have spent it more wisely. Yeah, I know there's a lot of chat about Spurs. I know yourself and Nick went that way. I just don't trust Spurs fullbacks, so maybe I could have gone Dyer. But yeah, I just thought fixture's good for Gay. We're just gonna go with it. Probably what I'll do is end up upgrading Emerson somewhere, in the future weeks, and then just keep Gay's bench fodder probably.
Yeah, I'm still pretty nervous as a Spurs winger back owner with Doherty, even with the big hug to Conte at the end, which is pretty funny. But listen to the wire earlier; they were half tempting me that Perisic is the way to go. So I think it's really tricky. But they were talking about him maybe being a solution in a front 3 and him being pushed up, which would be pretty insane.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I guess that because they've got Kulu and Richarlison are out, aren't they? So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And they got some really good fixtures coming up. So, but I was also tempted to buy Dyer, and that would have been an extra point. And I know he's a bit more expensive, so at least I did save some money with Doherty. But yeah, hopefully he starts again and might get a some attacking returns as well as clean sheets.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a quick check in on what you said at the start of the season. You said 100k would be good and 10k be ecstatic. So yeah, you're well on the way to that.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. If I get my best ever finish, that'd be good. Well, I think I was 52 something. That was best ever finish a few years ago. So yeah, at the moment it's going pretty well.
Nice one. Okay, and then a quick check on what I did myself. I had a bit of a green arrow from about 150k to 124. I had 2 free transfers and I spent them both in defence in a bit of a hopefully get my defence sorted for the rest of the season. And in hindsight, I didn't need to do both. The Doherty one was sort of the primary one to get him in the starting 11, and as I say, well happy with the clean sheet. And then I felt that I still had quite a weak bench, and I wasn't sure that Williams was going to play. And I thought I only need one benching or last minute injury from Cancelo or Trippier or something, and I might not actually have 3 defenders. So I thought I'd just spend it and get Webster in, and got the order of that right. I was tempted to play him against Brentford, but luckily didn't, and now I've got him for the Forest game. Touch with no last minute injury. So yeah, maybe a bit eager to do that. I think I saved a bit of money as well. I think Webster went up, but yeah, a bit more clarity on actually what I need to do now with the blanks, because it's Maddison's the obvious fire, and I've got to worry about the defence. And yeah, point behind you, so yeah, went okay.
Yeah, but you're looking good. You're looking slightly better shape than I do. Probably your defence looks a bit more reliable than mine. So perhaps you're slightly nudging ahead for 12.
Yeah, maybe. Although, I mean, just talking of benching and defenders, there were so many people with bench points this week with, people
Yeah.
triple up on Newcastle and understandably benching like 1 or 2 of those, and that didn't come off well. And, a lot of people like Gay and Anderson, Tottenham defenders were in there. So it was, what was it, 10 clean sheets, I think, this week. So, defenders coming through again a little bit.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people Trippier on the bench, which I was just like, yeah, a few people in other mini leagues I
Yeah,
was
you
in
weren't
had
happy about that,
Trippier on
were
the
you? You're
bench.
just like, what are you doing?
I just thought he's always worth a play against anyone. It's only United, and he says, but you might pop up the free kick and assist or anything. So yeah, I never considered benching him. Not that I could with my rest of my defense, but
Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was a bit crazy.
And actually, you and I didn't get, I think we got the same midfield, any midfield returns. So it was pretty annoying. Didn't have Saka, obviously. I suppose he was the main midfielder to
Yeah,
return, and Salah, of course. So I'll Mount, not many people have got him, maybe, but it wasn't a good week for the sort of template midfielders, let's say.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, let's move on. We're going to skip top 10k sort of stuff and just go straight into captaincy with this blank in mind. So this was what Rate My Team said yesterday, and the captain poll on Scout had with still 1,000 votes going on, so decent sample size. They're back in Salah, and then Liverpool assets, Trossard and Sterling on the Rate My Team model. Where are you with this at the moment, Tom?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Salah. I think if I had Kane, I would strongly consider Kane. Not that Spurs looked great; they looked pretty stodgy going forward, didn't they? But I mean, how many returns in a row is it that he's returned in now? I mean,
yeah, all but the first game, I think, all but the first game week. So many people that maybe have only had him for that first game week have probably feeling pretty sick.
Yeah, I think it was it scored in 5 in a row or something. Did I hear or something? But yeah, I think if I had Kane, I would really consider him. But I'm not going to have Kane, so I'll have Salah. It'll be on him.
Yeah, okay. And is that not a bit of a they're away, aren't they? Nostalgia pick that you recently sold him and you're just fearing him a bit. I mean, that United game surely is not going to be a big haul there. I'd be more tempted with Son on the counter attack. No, if you're
Yeah,
going a Spurs asset.
I don't know. I think with Man United, you just don't really know what you're going to get because they could lose that 2 or 3, but everything is going through Kane, isn't it? Literally, he was putting the crosses in, putting the if he could have played in on the wing, number 10, number 9, he'd have been everywhere. Just yeah, I think if Spurs are going to score, it's going to go through Kane. So Yeah, maybe it is nostalgia because I sold him. And I kind of wish I still had him a little bit, but I just think, yeah, are Liverpool absolutely going to run riot against
Mm.
West Ham? I'm not really sure. So I think it's probably, there's a return or two for each of them. You just got to get the right one. But yeah, like I said, I've only going to have Salah, so I'm just gonna go with that.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit tricky actually this week, like you say, because and when a few weeks out, everyone was talking about the blank, and some people maybe discussing free hit. One of the big things that's plainly obvious, I suppose, is that the best two teams are blanking, and okay, they would have played each other, which wouldn't have helped with another captain target maybe, but we are a bit limited on an obvious standout. Just looking at the ticket, like the bluest one is Brighton, which is Trossard, maybe is great, and then Bournemouth. If you really want to punt Lanky or Billing or someone would be quite good, but there's not a big hitter. Sterling we've mentioned, but he I think got 90s, and with Potter's rotation could be a problem.
Yeah.
So it is a bit tricky, and I suppose Salah is a bit template, but I don't know what his EO isn't going to be as crazy as Haaland, so maybe it's not given this season too much of a template to go with him and a bit of a risk. But do you know what I mean? It would be good to make a bit of a roll of the dice, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Look at Chelsea. You wouldn't really know where to put it. Yeah, okay, Mount, but they didn't. Well, they didn't play that great against Villa. To be honest, it was Villa kind of cost themselves the points there. Yeah, Sterling, I think started on at wing back, didn't he? And then he did at the bar. But it was just that I'm not really sure what's going on with Chelsea.
Yeah.
And then yeah, Brighton. I don't think I'll be captaining Trossard, or I don't know. It's just I think having a premium to hang it on. I think that's the way I would go. I'd probably more like stick it on Tony or something, to be honest, because I could see him scoring against Chelsea the way they played against Villa. Villa could have scored, but couldn't finish. If they'd had Tony up front, he probably would have scored 2 or 3. So I don't know. I think if it was in my team, I probably it's going to be on Salah. But then you're looking at people like Zaha, Tony, Mitrovic. I mean, they're all a bit of a punt, aren't they?
Yeah, agreed. I suppose there's a bit of the feel-good factor with Liverpool that City win is going to give him such a boost. Salah potentially playing a
Yeah,
bit more through the middle. He's got his mojo back. So West Ham's a tricky game, but they've just had Europe. They were apparently quite leggy in their Southampton game, so maybe it's not the craziest call. And at home, I think
exactly. I think if it's
that's a big
away,
factor.
I'd be more worried. But I think at Anfield, the place should be rocking. They looked, they looked more of the Liverpool of old, didn't they? In that game, it was feisty. They were competing, pressing. Yeah. And Salah looked okay, although he did miss that other one-on-one, didn't he? That Maddison saved it,
Yeah,
but
great save.
he he could have had probably more. But yeah, I think that, and he banged the hat trick against Rangers. I think maybe he's back. I think he's worth the risk given their fixtures looking absolutely amazing going for
Yep.
the next few weeks.
And actually looking at the numbers on Rate My Team, he's well ahead of the pack, so that suggests it is the way to go. The only other number there that's interesting is Trossard's predicted points is 4.86. I think on FPL review it's about the same, but that I just think is quite an important number because it's quite a way over 4. So I think a lot of people are thinking, oh, should I get rid of Maddison for a hit? And I know that Wolves fixture is maybe a bit tempting to keep him 4 in 13, but I for sure am doing that just with the view of, well, okay, it's a 4-point hit, but if he's predicted to get, say, 5 points, you're hopefully going to make up on that. But yeah, obviously you go down the list a little bit more, and if you're going to be bringing in, some other crappy midfielder, maybe not worth it. So do consider that if you've got to take a hit.
Yeah, and do you buy into the whole? It's only -2 because Maddison's not playing and all that. I mean, it is if he actually gets 2 points, but
Yeah, I did, and then the Wire again were making my brain melt a little bit because they were like, well, then you're also going to be definitely taking him out, and therefore you're wasting 2 transfers to move it. But then they
True.
made the counter argument of, but then you are definitely going to be removing Maddison in, well, probably in like 13 or 14 because his fixtures get really bad. So it's not quite booking in 2 transfers like that because you're going to use them anyway. So at that point, I just thought, sod this. Yeah, Trossard's still the man for me.
Yeah, exactly. I have looked at other options for Trossard instead of Trossard, but I guess we'll come into it in the future moves. But there's not that many good options that have got good fixtures because that's Zaha hasn't exactly been banging it. So you think, maybe Zaha to Foden, and then you could keep whoever you bring into that slot. But yeah, there aren't many good 7 to 8 mil options really. If got good fix next few weeks, I don't think.
Yeah, and not the play this week, right? So Saka would be an option,
Exactly.
Foden, but yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, Foden and Saka would be high up the list. But...
Yeah. Okay, quick check in on suspension stuff because obviously Maddison's now off this list, but Saliba moved up to 4 yellow cards on the left. The big players on this list, I've got them noted down somewhere. Jesus on 4, Darlow on 4, Saliba on 4, and Tony on 4. He got a booking, didn't he, in the Friday game? So he's teetering. But a goodish time for people to be on 4, I guess. At least it's not for this week. And on 3s, big names: Mitrovic, Nico Williams, Kane, and Fabian Schär.
Yeah. It does feel quite early to have that many, that many bookings.
It does, doesn't it?
To be honest, it seems to be quite a lot. And yeah, Jesus, someone I'm thinking about for, I think their Forest fixture is in 14. But yeah, that he's the kind of person you're thinking of. Oh, he's on 8. It's on 4. He's on 4. So and then Tony's already on 4. So yeah, I might have to see how we go with that.
Who is it? Sorry, Forest. Jesus has got them in 14.
Yeah. So if you're choosing like Jesus or Saka, then maybe you're like, oh, maybe that's something to consider.
I think given the pens now, for me, it's definitely Saka. I know there's a few bits when we get to our sort of blind poll of what we were doing for the next few weeks. We'll get to that. But yeah, it's funny when I put that together and saw yours, I actually got a few people there that I've probably missed out on. So we'll create a good bit of discussion in a bit.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. And then just in terms of the number of players that people are likely to get out this week, again, this is from Scout, some good polls that were going on. So on the left, how many players with a fixture do you plan to field in game week 12? So most people are planning to get 11 out, but 50% of people. So I guess the average is about 10.5. So sounds about right, doesn't it? I think most people are accepting, especially with Maddison now, they're probably going to have to take a hit, which is kind of what the right-hand thing shows. We'll be using free transfers or taking a hit or playing a chip to get game week 12 out, and it's about a third free transferring, a third taking a -4, and then a mixture of the rest, including free hits and other stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be about -2 or -3, isn't it? The starting point for most average players this week.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's it. Most people probably planned to get there without a hit, and then Maddison or James has kind of pushed him over the edge, hasn't it, and pushed people into hits. So that's certainly my case. I thought I've got a good plan to get there without hits. But yeah, you've got to adapt.
Yeah, I think many people had a plan. I mean, for me, I think I've probably been on the raw end of the luck a bit because I bloody Patterson. Okay, it's 4 weeks out, but do you expect a 6-week injury that takes him out? And then obviously Maddison, but I suppose maybe people are in the same boat. Whereas I kind of look at yourself and think, oh, had I just gone Emerson, who obviously I suppose at one point looked like he'd lost his place, and then well, maybe still will be rotated, but at least he's not got a freaking 6-week injury or something.
True. It means you missed out on all those ones.
Yeah, true.
He's got one in the last 5 game weeks. So since I brought him in, I've seen one every week. So
super consistent, yeah, but annoying. But yeah, I suppose people are out there thinking, like you said earlier, -8. I don't think I would go there. I think that's when, unless you're really confident of, maybe there's some team news tomorrow. Maybe we know that Trent's back or something, and you can get someone quite explosive like that. But I think after Trossard, I think strikers are quite hard to do this week, and attacking defenders. I mean, when I was planning to get Doherty in last week, it was a very much, if it's not him, I'm probably going to have to go with someone fairly centre back, and okay, maybe a lucky goal, but an Anderson or Gahey or one of the Brighton boys or something. So of course, could happen in any week, but obviously the wing backs tend to be where the points are.
Yeah, exactly. Gahey did have his header. That if that had gone in, I'd have been running around the living room.
For 4.3, that would be beautiful. Yeah.
4.3 clean sheet and a goal. Oh, blimey. I think your luck's in when that comes off, but. Yeah, exactly. I think there's no real standout fixtures, are there? Of players you're like, well, I've got to get that player for this week. Really, I mean, so
yeah.
But I think that if it was like Man City Forest this week, and you could get a hit to get someone in or something, you'd be like, yeah, boom, let's do it or something. But there's no one really stand out for -8 in my opinion, unless your team's obviously really bad and you've got like literally like 7 players, then maybe I'd consider it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the crux of this. And yeah, didn't have much time to do much with the formatting, so apologies for the blatant just Excel screen grab. But yeah, at the top is my table and the bottom is Tom's. So this is, in our opinion, what is the strongest goalie, defender, midfielder, forward to bring in for game week 12 only on the left. So those on free hit would kind of look at that. And then game week 13 to 16, those on, say, wildcard from 13 or looking for a long-term transfer would look at that. So we just run through this sort of column by column, Tom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
So game week 12, our goalkeeper, top one at least we agree, would be Pope, and then I've gone Guaita and you've gone Sanchez, which can't argue with any of those really. Like Sanchez with Brighton, I mean that Forest fixture's lush, isn't it?
Yeah. Guaita looked good. I mean, yeah, you're right. Even like Sarr against Palace, you think, well, probably a clean sheet there. The way Palace didn't look that great either. But yeah, so a lot of good options, I think, for keepers.
Yeah, I kind of interested. We've got Sarr on the other table. Bit of a penalty reminder, isn't it, that he's got a great record of those, and it's a bit like Tony. I suppose you face a penalty as often as people take them, but yeah, he seems to have a great record of that. And if you're going to get a 15-pointer in there every 10 weeks, then why would you look any further or go up to premium and stuff? It's pretty frustrating, isn't it? It's one of those lessons learned from last year. And Nick had him for sure. It's like, well, yeah, he's great at pens, but you haven't seen him in any teams this season. But he's already saved 2 this season.
Yeah, and I guess Wolves, pending new manager, they don't look like scoring many goals, so they're going to have to be tight because otherwise, So I think they are quite defensively minded, but that might change. So it's a bit riskier. So I guess in the long term, we don't know what Wolves going to look like, but presumably they can't flick a switch and go super attacking straight away.
It's always tricky with keepers. I never think that it's just about where they are on the ticker. I mean, they're 11th, but sometimes I think that like middling fixtures are actually quite good because at least they're going to face some shots. But us going Pope, I suppose, is partly their next 2 home games are they're looking decent. Just Spurs is a tricky one, but you could probably live with that. But yeah, certainly for this week, I think Everton's a pretty good one, isn't it?
Yeah, they don't look like scoring that many. They had a couple of chances, didn't they, against Spurs early on? Was it Gray and Anana had 2 really good chances but couldn't take them. So
yeah,
they're not gonna score 2s and 3s, I don't think.
Yeah. Okay, then best defenders bringing for 12. We've both gone Trippier at the top. We have both gone Brighton defender. I've gone Dunk. You've gone Webster. We've both gone Guehi. We've both got a Liverpool defender. I mean, yeah, I went a bit safe with Van Dijk, but I think we'd probably read that as if you get any news, you can get a Robertson or a Trent in.
Yeah.
And I suppose, West Ham, yes, Scamacca's looking good, so maybe that wouldn't be a clean sheet, but again, Anfield feel good factor. You may be looking for something attacking returns there.
Yeah. Interesting that Trent was back on the bench. I didn't expect him to be on the bench that quickly, to be perfectly honest. So that was interesting to see him going back.
Yeah. And then I went pretty wild with Senesi, and you went Dyer, which is a bit more safe. But yeah, there's a lot of options this week, isn't there, in defence actually?
Yeah, all from kind of like fairly cheap players as well, aren't they? Yeah, Gay, Webster, Dyer, Senesi. Yeah, I mean they're all pretty cheap. So I think there aren't that many defensive fixtures that stand out really, that great. But there's quite a few teams that struggle to score, like Palace and Wolves and bits of that. So and Forest.
Yeah, and I think if you're on free hit, you could easily double up on like 2 defences maybe and get double Brighton, double Bournemouth or something, double Brighton, double Newcastle to differentiate a little bit. So yeah, there's plenty of places to go, I think.
Yeah, interesting that we didn't pick a Fulham defender against Villa who can't score, but Fulham's defence doesn't look it's not been that strong, has it? So
yeah, agreed. And where do you go? I probably couldn't even name the main target to get who's attacking. I just don't strike me as attacking.
Yeah, exactly.
Midfielders, so we both agree Salah is top. We both agree Trossard is second. We've both got Mount in there. You've gone Zaha, but a bit of faith to hopefully get us out of the rut.
I think so. I was hopeful, I think. But I think, their fixtures, it's a good fixture this week. It's good fixtures going forward. Wow, is it a good fixture against Wolves? Again, I just said they're quite defensive, but you just think he could do something. He could turn it on. I think he's got a really good record against Wolves, I read. Is that right?
I can just see that being a bit sit back, and I don't know. I almost feel that Zaha's best performances when they're away and they're against an attacking team, and this is the complete opposite.
Yeah. You're absolutely probably right. I read he's got a really good record against Wolves, but
Okay.
I think maybe that was more hope than anything. But
Yeah, he's been really annoying, hasn't he?
please do something.
Yeah. And then, yeah, both gone for Guimaraes. She was actually, after putting this table together, I think he was taken off injured at the end of that game, and Cher was. So I think with a lot of these, do wait for press conferences. Well, I'll get on to our moves in a bit, but I think today they did mention that Trossard was probably going to play, because who else is injured in that team? Is Mwepu out or someone? I think they had an injury or something.
Well, Mwepu is out because he's the guy with the heart problem.
Oh, right, sorry.
But there's another chappie who is out. That I've forgotten his name. But yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, De Zerbi was like confirming today like some injury, and I think he also name dropped Trossard and said he's going to play. So that's a good sign.
I think he said something, and he said Lallana's going to play, and then people were saying, "Oh, is that Trossard or Gross, or who's going to drop for that and stuff?" But I mean, surely it's not Trossard. He's their most dynamic player, surely. Mitoma, he's the chap that is injured.
Yeah,
as well.
Mitoma. Sorry, getting confused with midfielders, beginning with them at Brighton. Right, and then to finish off the Gameweek 12 thoughts, forwards. Both got Mitrovic in there, both got Kane in there, and then you've gone Solanke, which I can't disagree with. He's obviously my hero at the moment a little bit. I've gone Darwin, that was pretty punty. I just think on a free hit, you'd go for someone a bit like that, and he's surely going to start after coming on, as long as he's not in Klopp's complete bad books.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting that I hadn't really considered him at all actually. But then did Jota go off injured in the end, or was he
he's
just
got an injury as well? So with Diaz out, you'd surely think that even with Firmino knocking about, Darwin's going to start.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, no, he could be a good punt. I didn't really consider him, to be honest. Yeah, Kane, I talked about, maybe I'm biased about him. Solanke, I think Solanke, I'm just a bit of regret not having him, but yeah, I think. Excuse me. I do think there's quite a few good options up front. I think if you've got any of them, I mean, like I said, I've got Tony, but I'm not really bothered that I've got Tony against Chelsea. I feel there's a goal
solid,
there for him.
Yeah.
So there's probably half a dozen players you could pick up front.
Great. Yeah. Okay, and then a bit more longer term, the right hand table. We've both gone Sarr as the keeper. Maybe it's a bit of recency bias, but if he's going to save another pen before the World Cup, then that's pretty decent. And the fixtures are okay. There's none in there you'd really want to avoid. So maybe that's again a good indicator that he's going to get plenty of shots. And Maddison for myself, Pickford for you. I think there's quite a few options now, isn't there? Like, we've not even mentioned Pope on there, and suddenly with all these hauls from goalkeepers, you could go quite a few places.
Yeah, I think I should put Pickford. Just their fixtures are absolutely amazing. Not Newcastle next, but it's Palace, Fulham, Leicester, Bournemouth, and then it's the World Cup. You think, I mean, all those good teams can score, but you think, they could get some clean sheets. They look quite solid at the back. I mean, I know they lost to Spurs, but
they're setting up to defend really first, aren't they?
Yeah, and you got like Tarkowski and Cody in there, and they're going to get. I mean, Pickford gave away the penalty, didn't he? So it's not a very great pick. But I don't know. I just thought, maybe he's a bit punty, but
I've only got them 12th on my ticker, but I can't agree with that really. Like, they're all. There's no top 6 teams in there, so could be. Defenders, Cancelo's both top for us. We've both got a Liverpool defender in there. You've gone Robbo, I've gone Trent. Both gone Saliba. Both gone Trippier. And then you've gone your mate Guehi. I have gone Doherty, my mate. So kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's one of those, like, if you got the budget, would you pick Guehi? Not really, maybe, but I just think he's such good value for the fixture they've got coming, and what they're amazing. They've got amazing fixtures basically. So maybe again, if everyone's probably got him already, but if you need a cheap one, he's a good option.
Yeah. Right, long-term midfielders. We both agree on the top 2. Foden, top of the list. Salah, second. And Arsenal midfielder, third. You've actually gone, Martinelli and Saka, double up. Fair enough. I just think Saka with pens now, and he seems to be in a bit more form, probably bumps Martinelli down, but Martinelli for value, you can't argue. And then we differed a bit, but I mean, all those 3 picks we've gone, Anthony, Son, Bowen, you can't argue with those either. They're obviously in pretty decent form in attacking teams.
Yeah. Anthony. I mean, he didn't look that great against Newcastle particularly, but yeah, he looks like he's got a goal in him, got some tricks in him. So I do really like United's fixtures from 14, but yeah, maybe we'll still want to see a bit more form in the next. They got Tottenham, Chelsea next, haven't they? So see how they do against those before I make any moves. But yeah, the Saka Martinelli double up is definitely something I'm thinking about. Yeah, or is that or Jesus? But yeah, you're right. Maybe Saka is the move.
Yeah, I think I'm probably 80% gonna get Saka in unless there's some crazy injury or something. I mean, but maybe even for a hit, I'd have to do it for a hit in 13 or for free in 14.
Yeah,
Zaha, one of those, it's just never a great time to sell, but I'm thinking that probably in 14 I would get rid of him for Saka.
yeah.
It's
I think
a
if he's done
decent
nothing
fixture.
by that, if he's done nothing by then yeah, that's exactly the same move that I've got. Presumably you'll go in Foden in 13,
Yeah,
Saka or Jesus 14
yeah,
is what I was thinking of, and then 15 I'll get rid of Emerson probably. Finally.
yeah, yeah. I think that Jesus yellow, I suppose if he hasn't got it by then, that would swing me even more. But maybe if he served it by then, that would. Oh, but hang on, he would be. I don't know whether there is some cup. Is there some cup games before the World Cup? But if he obviously can't serve it in 13 now because he's not going to play, so it could be 14 that he would grab it. I suppose we would know
Yeah.
by then though. But I suppose the problem with Jesus is there's so many strikers now. I mean, you probably wouldn't want to lose Mitrovic or Tony, would you?
Yeah, well, exactly. I think. Well, Mitrovic, they've got City in 15, haven't they?
True. Yeah.
And then United, so they've got City United 15, 16. So maybe jumping off Mitrovic for 15 isn't the end of the world. And
Oh yeah, to Tony. I think that's what Tom Martin was talking about actually. That would be good
yeah, it was.
sideways
That would
move.
be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know what I'll do there because then Tony's got City in 16. So yeah, don't know. I have to think about that. I haven't quite got that far down the line yet.
No, yeah, same. Okay, and then speaking of strikers, we agree Haaland, we agree Tony, and then Kane or Jesus. Yeah, I mean, I guess I went a bit non-money problems here, but yeah, you fancy Jesus, fair enough. So yeah, you're really back in Arsenal to keep this going.
I think so. I think they've got Southampton, Forest, and Chelsea, but
Fixtures are
Chelsea
great.
don't look that amazing, and then Wolves
Yeah,
and West Ham. So, West Ham's after the World Cup. So, yeah, I think got to get back on Arsenal assets for sure.
yeah. Good. Anything more to say on this?
No, it's good. No, yeah, you thought of a couple I hadn't thought of. That's quite interesting to do that.
Yeah, sure. No, exactly. And yeah, no, thanks for putting it together. I think it's just offers a bit of a second opinion on, yeah, if people are looking at a particular position, what we think. So yeah, just the top sort of targets for depending on your time frame to look at. Right, here is how you're set for next week. Looks like you haven't made any transfers yet, and obvious stuff is you've got Maddison to deal with and one of 4 blankers to deal with.
Yeah. So yeah, Maddison and KDB to Salah Trossard. Pretty sure that's what's happening. I'll probably do it tonight because I think there are some price changes going on tonight. But I thought I'd come on here first and see if you got if we see what else and what you were thinking as well. But I'm 99.9% sure I'm going to go do that straight after this, basically, and block it in.
Yeah, agreed. I think De Bruyne is going to drop, Maddison's going to drop, and Trossard. Last I looked at, no, I don't think he was going to rise, but I think Salah was on about 80%. So yeah, there could be some quite big swings tonight.
I think Trossard did he go up last night before? I can't
No,
remember.
I think it was like Friday night he went up.
Friday
Yeah, he
night.
went up already, but yeah, I think that was after the game. Obviously, he blanked, but I think he'd already gone over the threshold from that Friday, daytime.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because I'm jumping to Foden, probably not really too worried about that. That's all right.
Yeah, I'm not too. Yeah, so it does strike me a bit though, is because I see a lot of people are doing it. Like the number of transfers like each hour is like really high, maybe because of the short week. But I think a lot of people are just sort of thinking, sod this, like 12's a bit of a pain, so I'm just going to try and get some cash out of it, which is kind of fair enough. I mean, would you lose money on Maddison and KDB if they dropped?
I definitely would on Maddison. I'm not sure about KDB actually. I'd have to check
I
that.
definitely would on both. So I'm thinking so I've already done one, but I might do the other tonight as well, just to
Yeah, I'd lose on both.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just gonna do it. I'm pretty happy that is the moves I'm gonna make. So
yeah, and it's got to be one of those rare weeks where so many people are making like 1 or 2 transfers, and it probably involves those 4 players in a combination, isn't it? People are selling the 2. You're selling Maddison, De Bruyne, and they're bringing in Salah and Trossard.
yeah, I think so. Those seem to be the main moves on the FPL Twitter anyway.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Probably nothing more to say. Obviously, got no bench and discussions to make, and Salah captain, fine. Your Vice would go on. That's a bit more tricky.
Yeah, I think some. Well, I think Trossard is Trossard or maybe Mitrovic. Yeah, I don't know. Probably leave on Trossard. I don't know. I'm not that confident in him. Maybe I should just pick Tony. Then I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure. You mean you don't fancy Ward over Pope? So that's my only benching headache.
Yeah, I suppose actually, yeah. Against Leeds, I mean, they've been pretty attacking, haven't they? Or Sinisterra is someone we haven't mentioned. A lot of people are quite enjoying him, and Bamford looked good, obviously, although the penalty miss. No, I don't think I would go Ward.
No, fair enough. They did look good actually, and yeah, Sinisterra. Yeah, I did actually have him on the table at one point for a pick for I can't remember if it was 12 or for 13 to 16, but yeah, I was like, I do like the look of him. But I can't remember who's they got in their fixtures. Leicester, Fulham, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Tottenham. I mean,
It's
not
mixed,
amazing.
isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, Leeds just go at it against anybody, don't they? That Liverpool game for Liverpool's probably pretty strong.
Yeah, and Fulham and Bournemouth at home. I think at home they did play well against Arsenal. Really unlucky not to get anything, to be honest. But
yeah.
And yeah, I think we talked about my fullbacks, which is my fear. Basically, just only end up with 9, but that fear's diminished a little bit since they did get. Well, they're gonna get some minutes. So that even if it's 30 minutes, they get a point. I think so. I'm just got to roll with it.
Yeah. And then very similar to yourself. So I've already done the De Bruyne to Salah move last night. It looked like De Bruyne was more likely to drop, but it didn't happen. So yeah, I probably after this will lock in Maddison to Trossard, 90% likely. I just don't really see anybody else. And Nick and I were talking a while back about potentially captaining Trossard this week before Salah's form, which is telling that I think I should just stick to that and not be tempted with a Sinisterra or I don't know any of the other midfield options we discussed. So go with that. Vice, I might put it on someone like Slanky or something, just for a laugh. And yeah, fear is, I guess, similar to you. It would just be really annoying if everyone had actually now back down to 9 players or something because they decide to rest. Yeah, I don't know. Mitrovic felt something, or Williams just the one week I need him. He gets rotated. So
yeah, or Trossard bench after we bring him in for a -4.
yeah,
That'll be the classic. Yeah, I think if I had Solanke, I'd definitely have advice on him. I think that's Southampton. There's probably goals in that game. I'm feeling a bit FOMO about him. But yeah,
it's crazy, isn't it? Like 5.7 or whatever, and yeah, the returns have been really good. If he does something again, yeah, he'll be getting quite hero status.
Yeah, I know. All the way through, I was like, "Oh, I'm not getting Solanke, and he's terrible." But I guess change of manager, and they do look a much better outfit, don't they, over the last few weeks?
Yep. And the thing we were going to mention, yeah, free hit for 12. I think given the stats we were showing here, people are going to be between 10 and 11 players. I think if you're on like 6 players or something, I probably would take a -8. I'd be tempted, but I'd almost be tempted as well just to get 8 players out with a -4. So I really don't think the free hit's worth it. But
Yeah,
look at your teams and see, because maybe if you think you're going to gain 20 points or something, it might be worth it.
yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I think if you got 6, I probably would, but I think if you've got 9, 10, 11, or you can take a -4 or something, that's definitely the move. Keep that free hit for later in the season.
Yeah. Okay, 45 minutes on the dot. So achieve that target. Happy days. Good achievement.
We should have done the guess the length of the episode.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right, Friday deadline this week. It's Friday deadline. Sorry, don't know where I've got that from last week's notes. The early kickoff is Brighton, I think, isn't it? So I suppose if people aren't worried about money, it might be worth holding it just in case there is news on Trossard.
Yeah, especially if you're not depending who you transfer about. If you transfer at Maddison, depends if you could, if you're gonna drop value, but yeah.
But yeah, midweek carnage, and then back again later in the week. So yeah, hopefully Nick and other Tom will be taking the reins on maybe Thursday, Friday before game week 13, and then it's back to one a week for before the World Cup. So that's the rough plan. Anything else to add, Tom?
No, thanks very much for having me on. Yep. Next time I get a green arrow, I'll happily come on and talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Stonking week would be like 5k or something by then. That'd be pretty good. Hopefully I'll be near you.
I think this week, if anyone gets a green arrow this week, we'll be happy with that. Or just hold tread water or whatever for this week, because I think it's been a bit of a tricky one. But
yeah, I'm quite looking forward to this one. It's almost like you can't really have an obvious fear, I think, because I don't know how to explain it, but you haven't got a benching headache problem. Captain, I think, is actually kind of easy now. I'm glad that Salah sort of raised his hand and made that a bit easy. And all the moves are kind of affordable. I don't think there's like a lot of 50-50s if you're in our position. It's the sort of obvious ones to make.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, most of our teams are going to look pretty similar, aren't they? Like, okay, a few players aside, but we've probably got 3 or 4 players different, but the key players are probably all there. So I think you're unlikely going to have an absolute shock when everyone has a brilliant week. If they have a brilliant week, you're probably going to get a decent score. So
yeah,
he says.
Yeah, exactly. Famous last words. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching and listening. If you've enjoyed the content, please give it a retweet on Twitter and like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. And we'll be back again soon. Night, everyone. Cheers, Tom.
Thanks, everyone. Best of luck.